The race for the 5th District has been underway for much of this year. It's the first time in decades that seat's been open. For the Democrats, there are 4 candidates, and all but one has been on this program. For the Republicans, there are now 5. The other 4 have been on, and now the newest entrant, State Senator Andrew Roraback of Goshen, is with us today. And Senator Roraback, good to see you on the program.
Thanks for having me, Dennis.
So, obviously the race has been going on for some time. What made you decide you wanted to run?
Well, Dennis, I've served in the Connecticut General Assembly for 18 years and have accumulated a fair amount of experience in public policy in the process. And I've looked at Washington, and like most Americans, have kind of been disillusioned, quite frankly, with the dysfunctionality of the United States Congress. The approval rating of Congress is at an all-time low, and with good reason. And I think we've got to solve that problem by changing Congress one congressman at a time. And I spoke with my family, and this was an opportunity for me to try to make our country a place where our son can have the opportunities. And the dream of America is that each successive generation would have it better than the generation before it. That dream is in peril, and I think that now is the opportunity that we have to reclaim America, and so I'm jumping in the race.
Have Congressman Murphy's actions in Washington, his votes, hurt the 5th District?
Well, Congressman Murphy voted against the deficit reduction plan, which I thought was the wrong vote. Clearly, if that plan had not passed, the markets would have gone into even greater turmoil than they are now. But I'm not running against Congressman Murphy. I'm going to run against a Democratic candidate whose views will surely be different than my own. And I have a record of 18 years of service, and I have a passion for working hard and bringing the kind of common sense, pragmatic New England Republican brand to my work in Hartford, and that's the brand I would bring to Washington as well.
Before you get to the Democrats, you have to get by 4 Republicans, strong candidates in their own way. What did you learn from them watching their campaigns this year that made you decide to get in? I mean, obviously you see something you don't like or something you think you could do better.
Certainly nothing that I don't like, but I do believe that I offer our party's best hope for winning this seat in November. What I saw of them was the absence of the kind of legislative experience that I've had and the inability to hit the ground running when they're elected, or should they be elected next November. I bring a package of experience which will allow me to hit the ground running, and I'm not going to stop running until the job is done. I represent 14 of the 41 towns in the district today. I know the people, I know the issues, and I understand the process. So I think that those attributes make me a better candidate than the other people in the race.
There are some Republicans in the state scratching their heads saying, can we ever get that seat back? Can we ever, because this state has moved toward the left and become very blue.
And I think this is our time, and quite frankly, I think I'm the candidate that offers the best hope for doing that. I've been elected 9 times, and I'm a Republican. I've always run on Republican principles, but I've been able to garner support from unaffiliated voters and earn the confidence and trust of the people I work for.
If you look at the figures from the last couple of elections, many people who voted for Chris Murphy voted for you. So you have to walk a fine line as you run in this race, because you need to attract some Democrats.
Well, I think unaffiliated voters are the ones that may have voted for Chris Murphy, who may have voted for me as well. It's the unaffiliated voter that holds the key to the 5th District. And the candidate that the Republican Party runs needs to have a profile which is attractive to the unaffiliated voter. I think that I offer our party's best hope of claiming that middle ground, which will be decisive to the outcome of the election.
We haven't seen any polls yet, but much of the press coverage has been on Chris Donovan, the Speaker of the House, who's running for the Democrats. Why is he a bad choice for the 5th District?
Well, how much time do we have, Dennis? One of the reasons I got into the race is because, as much as I like Chris Donovan, we've worked together for 18 years in Hartford, I don't want him to be my congressman, and I don't think the people of the 5th District will be well served by having Chris Donovan as their congressman. But I think Chris has a history of serving one constituency above all constituencies. I mean, he has been certainly the strongest advocate the legislature has for public sector employees, and I think that oftentimes his advocacy for that one single constituency has been to the detriment of the tax-paying public in Connecticut. I think that whoever we send to Washington needs to try to divine the public good, the common good, and not be captive to one particular special interest.
As you know, he is on the committee to redraw the districts after the 2010 census, and your Republican colleague Mark Greenberg has called for the Speaker to step down. So has the Hartford Courant to recuse himself from this process. What do you think?
Well, I think it's always best to avoid even the appearance of impropriety, and I think, when in doubt, the best thing to do is to step aside. Meriden is an outlier in the 5th Congressional District, and Speaker Donovan's participation in the process, which is drawing the lines for a seat he hopes to hold, I think does call into question his ability to perceive when it's best to avoid a conflict.
So you'd like to see him recuse himself?
Well, I think it's his call to do it, but I think that if he were to recuse himself, he would take away that issue from people who are questioning the propriety of his participation.
You've worked with him very closely over the years. Do you think he would try something from his position as a member of that committee?
I don't know when you say try something.
Well, let's say someone said, let's cut out Meriden. Let's give that to Rosa DeLauro.
I think he would object to that. I think it would be pretty obvious. I will bet you whatever you would like to wager that Meriden will be in the 5th Congressional District. As a matter of fact, I just think that it would be, I'm thinking what I might offer to do if it weren't in the 5th Congressional District, but I'm not going to say it on TV.
If elected, what's the first thing you'll do in Washington?
Well, the first thing I'll do in Washington is make it clear to the people that I represent that they have a hot wire to the Capitol. Washington, D.C. has become so detached from the reality of our everyday lives, and the people of the 5th District are going to know that they've got a congressperson who's going to be back in the district at every chance because he wants to be with his wife and his son, and I'm not going to forget where I came from, who I work for, and what matters to the people of the 5th District.
Who helps Republicans more in the 5th District if they are on the ballot next year, Linda McMahon or Chris Shays?
I think that each race is decided on its merits. Connecticut voters are a very discerning lot, and I think we've learned over time that you can go race by race, district by district, and voters jump back and forth because they want the best candidate. And people are members of parties, but they're more discerning. They're not blind party voters, they're discerning party voters. So I don't think that either of those candidates is going to have much of a bearing on the race below them.
State Senator Andrew Roraback, Republican of Goshen, now a candidate for Congress in the 5th District. Thank you for being on the program. We'll see you on here again.
Stay tuned. Thanks for having me.
When we come back, Behind Occupy Hartford. That's up next. And if you want to comment on today's program, you can do so at any one of these venues right here.